Our main OTA right now is Airbnb, but you are seeing a big increase in OTAs like Booking.com, VRBO, and also new ones coming into the market, which is great also because it gives you the opportunity to understand how they work from the beginning. And something that we really like to do is having ongoing conversations with them. So we try to do at least once a month an analysis of how was pickup, how is our visibility, what can we do to improve. And we just had a call with VRBO yesterday, and we found very interesting. We changed our cancellation policies about 3 weeks ago, and we are already starting to see higher visibility and higher pickup from VRBO.
Welcome to RevLabs by PriceLabs.
Hey everybody, it is Kyle. Our episode today is going to be with Miss Natalia Alzate, one of my friends and a revenue manager for Blue Gems Group, which is based out of Orlando, Florida, has properties down in Orlando, a couple in Tampa, and a few surrounding areas as well. So this is just kind of a precursor to today's episode. We've had this planned for a few weeks. Earlier today, we did just experience the hurricane going across Florida. So, Blue Gems has been directly impacted by this. We won't spend a ton of time talking about it, but whenever this gets played, just know that this is in the context of our hurricane that we just experienced. So, Miss Natalia, how are you today?
Hey, Kyle, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here.
Absolutely. I've been working with you for a couple of months now. Prior to working with you on your account, I was working with Aiden and JB, two great guys. Y'all have a great company down there. A lot of forward-thinking things are done. You all are really on top of occupancy in a super, super heavily supplied market. Orlando is one of the densest markets in the U.S. So if you don't mind, take a little time and just introduce yourself, talk a little bit about Orlando and the experience that you have in revenue management.
Yeah, sounds great. So yes, my name is Natalia Alzate. I'm revenue manager at Blue Gems. Maybe something about my background. I studied finance and accounting in Spain, and then I moved to Germany to study my master's in business development. So I have a little bit of finance and also business administration background there. I have over 4 years of experience in real estate and hospitality. So previously I was working for hotel fund in Europe as an investment manager. And yeah, since May this year, I'm very happy working at Blue Gems as revenue manager. Something about the company is that, as you mentioned, we are Orlando-based company. We manage over 115 properties at the moment, but we are growing very, very fast. So probably the next time we speak, this number will be higher. As you know, this market is very seasonal. So we are focused on occupancy. And it has worked great for us because we are outperforming the market by around 20%. Of course, it changes depending on the season, but that's throughout the year. As you know, selling houses, selling products where there is high demand, such as July for our market, is nice and easy. But where we really encounter challenges and we need to put some extra effort are in months like September, where the demand is lower.
Yeah, those shoulder seasons are so important, especially when you're sitting in the Disney World area and it's so hyper competitive down there. I know, we talk about every 2 weeks or so, we look at your account. You all had a really successful September. Can you talk a little bit about what your strategy was going into September, knowing that it's a shoulder season, knowing all the kids are going back to school, you're not going to have as much international travel. What was kind of the thought process, and what did you all try to do to get that occupancy? What was your focus on?
Yeah, so for us, it's very important to work closer to the OTAs. And something that happens is that they like occupancy, of course. So when you have an occupancy-based strategy, your visibility could improve. And some things we do to reach this occupancy is that we use PriceLabs for managing prices in trends. An example it could be that depending on the property, if we see that the property is amazing, is standing out from the market, we did hold our prices till the booking window. But for those properties that maybe are not as nice, maybe they don't have a pool or are not themed as the other ones, we did lower prices months in advance. And we did see that it was very successful because these properties already had a very good occupancy before the summer started. So that worked very good.
Yeah, absolutely. And that sounds like something that, Airbnb and Vrbo is going to look at and say, hey, these people they're really trying to make us money right now by making sure rates are in line. So let's promote them. Let's put them up a little bit higher in there. And conversion is one of the things that you all do such a good job of. If you will, talk a little bit about the types of properties that you all have. I know it's kind of spread out. You've got some that are super economical 1-bedrooms. You've got some that are a little bit more luxurious. Just talk about how hard it is to price those different types of properties, and anything that you see that's changed in the market specific to what your inventory is.
Yeah, definitely. So as you mentioned, we have a good variety of properties. Some of them are low budget, and we advertise them as that. And something very interesting about the properties in Disney is that your property might look the same as the one next door to you. So what we try to do is also offer experiences. So maybe you see a house that is a 4 or 5 bedroom and has an amazing pool. But what we're doing now, for example, is trying to add upgrades that are very cost effective and get the attention from the guest. An example would be adding an outdoor pool, for example. It's not too expensive, but we are seeing the increase in revenue there. And really the conversion is much higher than properties that maybe offer very basic services.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm personally a fan. If I'm going to stay somewhere and, if I'm looking at Airbnb or Vrbo, I don't want it to necessarily feel like an apartment that I'm moving into. I want it to have, some bells and whistles, some nice new stuff, some pretty features, all that good stuff. And you all are really, really good about making it an experience, driving business in there. What have you seen in Orlando, like outside of yourself? We know supplies going up. Have you seen any pattern changes? I know booking windows kind of compressed a little bit. That's pretty much everywhere, it seems like. But has anything else changed? Have you seen more of an influx of international travelers? Really,
Yes,
any
definitely.
differences you've seen since 2023?
Yeah, so I would even go a little bit more back. So after COVID, we saw demand increase, and it was more local demand. So people from the United States going to the Disney market. But that has changed. And actually, what we are starting to see is more international travel. And that's what we will expect for the upcoming months. And how we are handling is that we are also trying to focus on other OTAs that are more present in those markets. So right now we are starting to talk with a new OTA that is targeting Great Britain. And this is awesome because usually they stay longer, which is great for our business because that means less operational hassle in the sense that we have only one check-in instead of 3 every week. And they are also willing to pay a bit more because they are booking more in advance. So right now we are also exploring strategies and how we are presenting ourselves in the different OTAs.
That's a really good segue. I didn't think I was going to ask this, but it kind of comes up now because Orlando is one of those markets that Booking.com does kind of have a footprint in when it comes to the U.S. market. Booking.com's got a lot of money coming in behind them, and it appears that they're going to be a huge OTA in the United States over the next couple of years. Have you seen any increase in traffic with BDC at all in your bookings over the past year?
Definitely. So our main OTA right now is Airbnb, but you are seeing a big increase in OTAs like Booking.com, VRBO, and also new ones coming into the market, which is great also because it gives you the opportunity to understand how they work from the beginning. And something that we really like to do is having ongoing conversations with them. So we try to do at least once a month an analysis of how was pickup, how is our visibility, what can we do to improve. And we just had a call with VRBO yesterday, and we found very interesting. We changed our cancellation policies about 3 weeks ago, and we are already starting to see higher visibility and higher pickup from VRBO.
Interesting. When you say you changed your cancellation policies, did you make it a little bit more flexible? I'm assuming you made it
Yes.
more flexible, not less strict.
Yeah, definitely. And
So what?
we also take in account, for example, the room count.
Mhm.
So it's not the same if you look at a small unit, let's talk about 1 or 2 bedrooms. Then if you look at something bigger that it's 6, 7 bedrooms, usually we had pretty strict cancellation policies, but people feel more comfortable with something between 14 and 30 days. We don't take anything lower than that because we might get cancellations due to weather, and that's something we don't really want.
Yeah.
But a 14 cancellation policy, 14 days, doesn't necessarily mean that you will have more cancellations. It just means that the people feel more free if they need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you seen any changes in your bookings with Verbo since you've done that? I know you said you got a little bit of pickup with it, but have you seen any increase in cancellation since you've made this change? The reason I ask is because that's something I hear a lot when I go to these conferences is, I don't want to be too flexible. I don't want people to just cancel because they find a better deal. But it seems like that cancellation policy is something that's being pushed a lot more by the OTAs. And, as a consumer, I like having a little bit more leeway as well. I'm not going to cancel on you if it rains, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's nice to have
yeah, I
that in there just
totally.
in case. So,
Yeah, I totally understand what you mean. Not really. So, as I mentioned, we just started with it recently, so we have not seen a long-term effect yet. But I feel it's just how customers perceive flexibility. Some of them, what they do is that before the cancellation period, they get in the listing again and just check recent reviews if something changed, if you have some new complaints. Maybe we get a comment from a guest complaining about something. We try to fix it because it's daily operations. And then the new guests come, hey, I read this from a comment not so long ago. Were you able to fix it? The property will be ready when I check in, but not really more cancellations with these policies. Yeah.
that's good. And I don't think anywhere in the US is really showing like a huge increase in cancellations from making that move. It's just something that kind of on the back end helps the guests feel a little bit warm and gooey, and helps the OTAs out a little bit too, because now they're not on the hook for all these long stays and cancellations and things. But so now I don't really have a good segue out of that, but before we wrap up or anything, I do want us to kind of talk about some KPIs that y'all like. You're very focused on occupancy and looking forward. Do you have anything outside of that that you're really keying in on? And I think I know the answer to it, but
Mhm.
I kind of want you to go with it. And what other KPIs and metrics are you looking at to help you make your revenue decisions?
Yeah, so KPIs is very important for this business, and there are different moments and different ways that we see KPIs. So when we get a new property, of course, we make a full analysis to understand the special needs of this property. Does it has historical data? Was it listed before, or is it new in the market? And then what we want to analyze are things like booking window. Is this a property that gets booked 3 months in advance, 2 months? Usually that happens with larger homes. Or is it a property, for example, our budget friendly ones? They tend to be booked 20, 25 days before check-in. We also, of course, look at the ADR, so average daily rate, the revenue, and the occupancy. And that help us to make a general idea of how can we approach this property. and then set pricing, set minimum night stays. Cancellation policies are also very important. Of course, market trends. It's something that we look very much in detail. But once we go from that first pricing, from those first settings, in the first 3 months is what we know as the ramping period of a property, and we analyze how is the property working with those initial setup that we made and make adjustments. Maybe we realize that, okay, even though these kind of properties, according to the market, have a 30-day booking window, but this one is doing very well and we have 45. So then we go ahead and adjust our prices, adjust our gradual discounts. And really, I think something very important is continuously tracking. We do KPIs every week, and we look at properties every week to see how they are performing.
That's a beautiful explanation. I'm glad you mentioned the booking windows. Like you had mentioned it earlier before, that was the one I was keying in on. You know, to toot your horn a little bit, I am your account manager, so I've been on calls with you and seen what you do. And there's always that bit of forward thinking, looking at your booking window. A lot of what, I see on the vendor side of revenue management is people focusing so much on what's right now. What am I going to do over this next week? I need bookings by October 17th. By the way, it's October 10th while we're recording this, but they're looking 1 week ahead in advance. You're looking into November and December and then trying to just make little tweaks as it comes. And I think that's something that our listeners and anybody that's in revenue management should really start putting themselves towards. Focus on your booking window, understand where that's at, and then try to train your eyes to look even further ahead. And then you end up in a similar situation as Blue Gems is, which is when I first started talking to you guys, I think you were at 75, 80 properties. And then within 6 months, you've basically doubled, tripled up. So there's a lot of good to come of that. Kind of to put a bow on this, you've been with Blue Gems now for how long?
About 6 months.
About 6 months now. Is there anything that you've seen that you wish other property management companies would implement from a revenue standpoint? Now, obviously, you don't want to give your secret sauce away. You've given up a lot of your secret sauce, by the way, but you've got your secret sauce that you do. Is there anything, for the greater good in Orlando and Florida that you would like to see some of your property management competition kind of adopt that may benefit you or not?
Yeah, I love the question. And I think the main takeaway is from the experience of our owners and how their previous property managers were handling their listings.
Mm-hmm.
And is that first, communication with the owners is key. And then when we really talk about revenue, I think the general conception is about income, expenses, and pricing, but we leave on the side so many important things. And an example would be property optimization. Do you have the right marketing? Are you visible enough? Are you leaning too much towards one OTA when there are really so many out there? And that's something I found very interesting about my position. I didn't expect it to be so involved in operations, but at the end, everything relates and everything ends up being important for revenue. So I will say not only to focus on the numbers, but also in customer service, maintenance, operations, cleaning, everything plays a very important role in this industry.
I agree with you. I'm a firm believer that, the front desk is just as important to your ability to generate revenue as me or you are as the revenue manager. They're that person there that gets you your 5-star rating, ultimately gets you the extra money and the extra revenue that you're looking for. Is there anything in Orlando that you want to share with the broader audience that you think might be specific to your market, other than having the international drive and it obviously being Disney World? Is there anything else that really makes you all unique? You've got events, you've got great weather. Is there anything else that you think makes Orlando a unique pricing opportunity for you?
Yeah, it's very interesting because when you think of Orlando, it's obvious that competition is crazy and might be a difficult market to get in. But if you do things right, you do see the benefits of being in such a beautiful market because yeah, it's about emotions. At the end, this is hospitality. So we can talk all you want about revenue, but these are people that are booking vacation, mostly families. So what you want to try to focus is in the experience, in the overall experience for their trip.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you all do a fantastic job. That's why I wanted to have you on our podcast. Miss Natalia, it's been fantastic chatting with you. I hope to have you on here again in the future. Is there anything you'd like to say to the audience on your way out?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a great chat. If you want to contact me, you can find me on LinkedIn, Natalia Alzate. I'm always happy to chat. Either if you are someone very experienced in this sector and you want to talk about trends, or if you are someone interested in getting in, knowing how to invest, which markets work, or what to look at, I'm happy to answer your questions.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I'll make sure that we post that out there whenever we put the video out and everything. But thank you so much for your time today. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you. Bye bye.